Hi, everybody. So I am much better spirits today than I was probably 48 hours ago. Um, the warfare and the pressure of, and just the sheer things that were happening. Oh my goodness. So after I did those videos, we did lose a subscriber. And I don't mention how many subscribers I've gained because it's not about gaining subscribers or losing subscribers. But when someone leaves, I take a moment to pray over that individual, that they have received whatever God has wanted them to receive. And that if they've left for their own will, that God gives them the opportunity to soften their hearts and to, bring them back to Him. Because being without God is not a place you want to be. And sometimes we can get into our own heads. And it's not really us. If we were to really look at it in terms of, when we're looking at a situation and we're trying to be, analytical about the situation without being emotional, without being rash about our decision, there tends to be this little voice that says the opposite of what we're thinking. And sometimes we're like, that has to be God. But what we should be looking for is, how does it make us feel? Now, I can tell you from experience, whenever God is going to have me do something drastically different, there comes a moment of dread, of panic, of fear. And I know those are not from God. Because when it is from God, He has already told me in some way, shape, or fashion, either by having me, like, nowhere I've been have I not been there before. I've passed by this motel that I'm about to move into. I've passed by this hotel for the past 6 months of the 8 months I've been living back in this place. A place I left that God sent me out of. And because the way God sent me out, I could feel the animosity. I could feel the fear, the anger, the emotional turmoil. And when I got to a place that was protected by God, when I got to a place that was at peace with God, or wherever God was residing, I felt calm. I didn't feel fear. I didn't feel dread. I didn't question what God was saying to me or showing me. But whenever, and He always makes me go back out, because He wants me to understand the difference. So the last night I spent in my car was on Saturday night. I got off work at 9:30. Well, what did I close? Yeah, I closed. So Sunday was my day off. So I spent the day going around doing the things that God was leading me to do. And then I ended up back at the park where I stay before I go to the Walmart parking lot to go to sleep. And earlier in the day, I had watched a video from Stephanie P. Smith. She's a prophetic voice of God. And she said, God is going to bless someone 800 at 800 with 800. And she goes, it could be money, it could be an address, it could be something. And I was kind of paying attention, but I kind of wasn't. So I heard the word, and then he brought the word again later on in the day. And then all of a sudden, I get a ding ding on my phone. And I was like, what the heck? So I looked at my phone and I was like, my check is here. My check is here. It's Sunday. The banks aren't open on Sunday. I didn't think about the time. I looked up and it was 8:18. So my truck time is always a few minutes ahead of my phone time. My phone is set to whatever the standard time is for where I'm at. I looked at it, and because I know that that number is associated with my blessings, Deuteronomy 8:18. I was like, holy cannoli. So immediately I got on my phone. I got on the app for Expedia. I booked a room. I was not able to book a fancy room in the motel that I wanted to, but I still booked a room in that motel. And when I got there, there was a different lady. It wasn't the same person the same people that I've been seeing. This was an Asian woman. I was like, the heck? And so she didn't know me. And so we got to talking, and she goes, oh, I've seen you've stayed here before. I said, oh yeah, I love staying here. It's a great little place. And I was like, okay. And so she gave me my room number. Now the other girls, and this always bothered me, but I never said anything because God always said, don't say anything. I'm like, okay. So I didn't say anything. And they always wrote the number on the outside sleeve, on the back and the front of the sleeve. So if you had your card in the sleeve, it didn't matter because everyone that saw the sleeve would see what number you were in. And I was like, and I always felt uncomfortable, and God always made me put it to the side. He never let me use it because people could know what my room number is. And I couldn't turn it inside out because I thought about doing that too, but they would write it on the inside as well. And I'm like, well, that sucks. That, now I don't feel safe. And so when this new person showed up, I was like, wow, okay. And it was a very pleasant interaction. It has never been an unpleasant interaction, but this was different. It felt different. So I got I got my number, and the number was, what was the number? 136 was the room number, which makes the number 10. Now, I have known that number for me sometimes means full circle, God's order, and so on. But listening to Tara, she also made that number means revelation. And I'm like, Father, what are you going to reveal to me? And oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm in this room. I go to sleep. He led me to go buy some alcohol, and I drank some alcohol because I don't argue with Father. I just do as he asks. I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't doing anything. I was just going to go, and he didn't need me to take anything out of the truck other than my bag that has my clothes in it. So this new space that I'm going to be there for a while. And he's already like, he had me go to the dollar store. And let me show you. So he had me go buy, I don't know if you can see this, but he had me go buy dishes. So these are plates, if I can open them up. So these are plates, they're festive plates. These are spoons and forks and, just things that I'm going to need while I'm staying at this motel. Because this motel is a suite. So there's going to be a kitchen and there's going to be, I don't know if there's going to be a table, but I do have a folding table that I can pull out of the back. I also have other dishware. I have spices that God led me to buy. And I've got oil. So I've got a full kitchen. And at the time, I was like, Father, I could just buy them later. And he goes, no, you're going to keep them. And I'm like, okay. Well, had I not kept them right now, I would be really having a struggle of a time, because now I'm going to be taking money that was supposed to go to buy like groceries and things like that, to buy not that they're not essentials, but to buy things that I could have already had if I had kept the stuff I had before. And I've got coffee and I've got all that. So God has been sending me here and there and different places and picking up small things here and there. But I do need a coffee pot. So he's like, okay, don't worry about it. I'll help. I'll get you one. And I'm like, okay, but it's got to be within my budget, because if it's not within my budget, then I can't buy it. And so, and by the way, the $100 that Tanya gave me, I used that money for gas. And then the rest of it I used to buy food, because I was a little low. The last couple of days at work, the tips haven't been that great. So I've been able to buy like one meal, but it wasn't enough. So that $100 came in so handy. And I had no idea that the tips were going to be this light, which is when the money came in, I was like, okay, Father, what do you want me to do with it? And he started leading me, okay, put this much in gas, and the rest of it is going to be for food, and it's going to be for other things that you're going to need. And I'm like, okay. So that's what I did with the money. I bought food, and I bought, what else did I buy? Food. That's pretty much it. So on Monday, yesterday, when I went to work, actually God had me go and get some breakfast. And I was like, okay, I can go do that. So I went and I got some breakfast. And the direction that I went, I was going to go north and then, or no, I was going to go south and then go east. And God's like, no, I want you to turn around. I was like, turn around? Okay. As I was turning around, I saw a car. Well, not a car. It was a van with the word Cintas on it. And every time God shows me that, I know I'm on the path. And I was like, but I'm turning away from the path. I kid you not. When I got to the street, when I got on the freeway, because he led me to get on the freeway, and I'm like, okay. So I got on the freeway. I got off at the street that he showed me. I passed the place that I was going to get food from, and he had sent me to go get coffee, so from Starbucks. So there was a Starbucks across the street. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll get food here, or I'll get my coffee here, then I'll go back, because now I can go the other way and I can go up the street, get my food. And then God goes, what about the gas? You need to put gas in the car. And I'm like, oh, well, the one place that you want me to go to, that's on the same street as the Starbucks. And he goes, I bet you there's another restaurant that you can go to that you can get breakfast at. And I was like, okay. So I looked it up, and sure enough, right next to where I was staying at was a restaurant. And I was like, okay. As I was getting out of Starbucks and I was beginning to drive towards the restaurant, which, by the way, was after the gas station where God wanted me to get gas. So I'm driving, and there comes another van on the going opposite of me with the word Cintas. And I was like, whoa. Okay, so I'm driving. I get into the gas station, I pump gas, I get out of the gas station, and as soon as I turn onto the street, I get a left tail light out. And I was like, what? I'm like, okay. But I was like, wait. But whenever my tail light is out, the clicker will go faster. It'll go click, 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 letting you know that it really is out. And I'm going, okay. And I said, Father, if it's okay with you, I will stop when I go to, on my way to work. I will stop at AutoZone and I'll pick up some bulbs to replace the light. And he said, okay. So I went to the place. I was going to Sonic because, unfortunately, when you don't have a kitchen to cook in, it's kind of hard to make food. So fast food has been my meals for the past, 8 months, 9 months, 14, almost for the last year. Yeah, because I moved out in December 9th, and December 9th is next month. So almost a full year of just fast food. And it's been tough. I've gotten reprieves where God will allow me to, like when I went camping, I was able to use my gas stove and I was able to make food that way. But he never led me to do it in the city. I don't know why. But I do listen to Father. Whenever he tells me something, I do it. Whenever he says no, it's no. And so that happened. And then I get back to the motel. I park and I go inside. I eat my food and I get ready for work. And I get, I take a bath and everything. And I get ready for work. I leave my puppy ready for the night because he's going to be at the hotel for quite a few hours by himself. And he is such a good boy. He's very quiet. And I love him so much because he is such a good boy. Even now, sometimes you can hear him, but most of the time he's pretty quiet. So then I get out of, I'm on my way to AutoZone to pick up some bulbs. The guy behind the counter, the guy behind the counter that was helping me says, "Oh, I hope we have some." I'm like, really? So we go to the register. They do have the light bulbs, thank goodness. I get back outside and God says, "Why don't you check the blinker and see if it's working?" I was like, "Oh, okay." So I turn the key so that the lights come on, and I turned the turning signal on, and I went to go check, and I'm like, "It's working." And he's like, "Right?" And I'm like, "Okay." So then I drive to work, and I go to work, and because I've been having to work with the two new people, the newest members of our team, and I'm not training them. I wasn't supposed to be the one training them. They were supposed to be trained by the other girls. and their training sucks. So I'm having to retrain them every day. And every day, they're giving away the wrong food. They're not giving all the food together. So they're not checking tickets. They're not checking. And so I'm having to go behind them and make sure that what they're giving out is correct. And I'm having to answer phones, and I'm having to clean the dining room, and I'm having to take food out because I'm faster than them at doing these things. They're still relatively slow at getting these things done. There's no sense of urgency, no real sense of, I got to get out there and move. So it's a constant battle having to, get out there and make sure that everything's clean, that everything's looking good, that customers are being served properly, that they're being, that everyone is in a good mood and is happy with the service. And it was a tough night. So at the end of the night, the younger boss, the one that was closing with me, comes up to me and he goes, "How was your day?" And I'm like, honestly, it's tough. I've had, my shifts have been mostly with these two individuals, and I'm constantly having to go behind them. I'm constantly having to check them on what they're giving out and what they're, because they're not being efficient, and they're not really verifying the ticket before it gets out. And he goes, "Yeah, I was stuck in the back with the two new guys, and I feel the same way. Like, it's a constant checking them, constantly having to make sure that they're making the right order." I'm like, I know, it's freaking insane. It's one thing when you have one new person, but when you have 4 new people and you and the manager are the only ones that are really, up to speed, it makes things tough. But it's part of the job. So I get out of work, get my stuff done. The boss is always impressed at, when he sees me, he's like, "How much do you have done?" And I'm like, well, he thinks nothing's been done. And I'm like, "I'll be done on time." And he goes, "Are you sure? You positive?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah." So I have a routine. I go do this part, and then because it's been changed now. Now I don't have to do the bathrooms. Now I have to do the kids area. I have to flip chairs. I have to vacuum everything. And I have to do a much deeper cleaning than I've ever had to do since I started. And I'm closing quite a bit. So most of my shifts are closing shifts. And except for the 2 days that I have off and the 1 day that I work during the day. So on Saturday, I get the information from the other boss saying, "Hey, these girls are this is what was said about your work, and this is what was said about from a customer's point of view, because this person's parents came in and they said that you didn't clean the tables, you didn't do this, that you and this other person were just talking." And I was like, I'm being ambushed here. So so Monday when I came in, I was ready for it. I was ready they told me this on Friday. Saturday I worked with the big boss, and he gave me the silent treatment the entire night. So, the animosity was on high. It was 100%, 120%. And I was just like, what the heck? And I kept asking Father, I'm like, what's going on? Why am I feeling this way? So when I had my breakdown on Sunday, it was because I had felt the pressure. It just felt so overwhelming. I was just like, why? Why am I feeling all this pressure? So all of this culminated on yesterday. So on my way home from work, or on my way back to the hotel, God had been putting it on my heart. He had been like, no, I want you to go to this place, to this restaurant. And I want you to pick up this, and I want you to pick up this, and I want you to take it with you to the hotel. And I'm like, why? I'm like, that's money I don't need to spend. And he's like, do as I say. I'm like, okay. I'll go. So at the end of the night, I got in the car. He wouldn't let me ask for a pizza or ask for a sandwich or anything. He was like, no, you're going to go get food. And you're going to go get wine, and you're going to go back to the hotel, and you're going to have a relaxing evening, or a relaxing night. And I said, okay, I'm going to do what you asked me, Father, and I'm going to be obedient. So I get in the car, and I drive, and then all of a sudden, I get an alert. And I've seen that alert before. And I'm like, what is that, Father? I'm like, is that the gas cap? Someone stole my gas cap? And he's like, nope. It's warfare. And I'm like, so I prayed. I prayed over my truck. I prayed over the wheels. I prayed over the electrical system. I prayed over everything that's here. And I rebuked any warfare that was being sent against my vehicle to prevent me from doing God's work, and to prevent me from continuing on the path that God had for me. God knows that if I know I don't have this vehicle, I have to do everything on foot. And there are certain things that he did want me to go through. One of them was not go without a vehicle. And one of the things that I have to do when I get into this new motel where I'm going to be at for a while, and there is a lot of information that I have to give about this. So that I'm going to be working on my book. God has been leading me to write down dates, significant things that have happened on certain days, on certain things, because those are going to be included in the book. And so as I'm driving, before I even get to the location where the restaurant is, the signal goes away, the alert. And I'm like, what? And he's like, it was all warfare. They're trying to scare you into not going to your next place that I have you going to. And I'm like, okay. Okay. And all of a sudden, I started feeling dread. Like, what if the place is all completely booked up? What if I don't have this? What if they won't let me in? What if? And I'm like, wait, that's not God. What the fudge bucket? And I started rebuking everything. And I'm like, no, I'm going to go. I'm going to do the things that my Father said to do. And I kid you not. So God sent me back out this morning. So that was all yesterday. I get back to the hotel. I change my clothes into my sleeping clothes. I open the bottle of wine. I eat one. It's a bruschetta is what I bought. So I bought 2 bruschettas. I ate one most of one last night, and then I left the other one for today, for this afternoon, so that I would have it to eat. Because God doesn't want me to go buy fast food anymore, because now I'm going to have a place to cook. So after I move into the location, the motel, I'm going to go to the grocery store and I'm going to pick up some groceries. I don't know how much I'm going to buy, but I'm going to buy at least for a couple of days. I wasn't planning on buying a turkey, so I'm probably just going to get a chicken or something and make that like I did last year. Last year I bought a spit squatch. I don't know. It's the chicken that gets split in half and the backbone gets broken so it lays flat. So I bought one of those and I put it in the oven. I also bought a pumpkin pie and I had some wine, and that was when my roommate at the time was supposed to go to a Friendsgiving, but he never left. He ended up staying at the apartment. So it was a little, it felt uncomfortable because here I am making this big meal for myself, and he's making some protein thing or protein shake, I don't know. And so I felt obligated to offer some of my food, and he was like, no thanks, I'll just eat what I had brought. And I'm like, okay. And so that's what happened on Thanksgiving. So this year I'm gonna do something similar, which is why I bought the plates and I bought knives and forks and things like that, because I don't have any silverware. Father had me leave it all behind. And he had me leave the plates. He had me leave pretty much everything that I had purchased for the time that I was, because I thought I was going to be there and I was there for quite a while. I used them all. I washed them, and I would use them every day. But God led me to leave them behind. So I was like, okay. And then, this morning, I was going to get up at 8:30 because I was going to get everything packed up and get everything cleaned up. And God said, no, you're not going to clean up today. And I'm like, but he goes, what, the dirt on the floor? You're going to clean that? Let them clean it. That's what they get paid for. And I'm like, Father. Now, God, and I know a lot of you don't understand this because you have this thought process that God would never put you in situations that would cause, like, he wouldn't cause problems. And God said he wasn't going to come back to be peaceful. He said he was going to come back to ruffle feathers. And so what he's doing is he's instigating the spirits. He's instigating the spirits over people. And if you're not following what he's saying, then he's going to get someone else to do it. Because, he wants to make sure that his people are being sorry, somebody just parked right behind me. And then it's not a parking spot. It's you have to allow God to move you the way he wants to move you, because there is a specific reason that he's moving you in that way. There is someone that